Hey everybody, it's episode 231 of Unlocking Your Inner Strength with me, Kyle Newell. Today, I'm going to be going over acknowledging and overcoming your weaknesses. Everybody's got weaknesses. It's what you choose to do about them that is the issue. So back in high school, when I was a freshman, I remember having to get in front of the class and speak. And the teacher ridiculed me, embarrassed me in front of the class. Still don't know why she did that, but I remember it stuck with me. I was incredibly embarrassed. And I think that was the point at which I became really scared about public speaking, very petrified. So much so that my senior year, I was signed up for a home ec level 2 because I liked the baking, I liked all that stuff. And once I found out you had to give this big presentation as one of your big projects, I dropped a class. The teacher found me in the hallway and ripped me a new one. She thought I dropped a class because I didn't want to put in the work. But it was really I was scared about having to give this presentation in front of the class. Fast forward a couple more years, when I was in college, I remember one of the assignments was we had to give a 5 to 7 minute presentation. And man, I thought about this for weeks. As soon as I saw it in the syllabus or whatnot, and I wound up giving a presentation on how to tie a fishing hook properly. But I remember thinking about it, and the presentation went fine, but it consumed so much headspace because I was fearful. So I'm going to use that as the framework for today's episode about acknowledging your weaknesses and overcoming them. So I had this pattern, right? I realized that I was very scared to get in front of people and speak. I was shy, I was timid. Now, once I got out of college, I realized, especially once I began Newell Strength, that one of the key elements to becoming an authority figure and really growing my business was going to be the ability to speak in front of people. So I said, okay, there's no way to avoid this really. You got to do this, you got to figure this out. So I began going to Toastmasters. I signed up for Toastmasters, a local Toastmasters organization, and I would go there, I think it was every week. I'd go there, let's say it was Tuesday night, and I'd practice, I'd get up in front of people and talk. And a lot of it was very simple stuff, but it was a step towards overcoming the weaknesses. So you have to acknowledge your weakness. That's step number one. And is it something that you need to overcome? I believe if it's a weakness that can weigh heavily on you, then for your growth as a human being, you should want to overcome it. Now, if it's a weakness, like I'm not good, let's say, at badminton, but I have no interest in playing badminton, there's no reason to overcome that weakness. But if it's going to impede your progress, right, because using speaking as an example, you're always conversing with people. You're always conversing. So in this particular instance, I acknowledge it. Now I had to come up with a plan. So that's step 2. So whatever your weakness is, you have to have a plan. So at that time, I was going to go to Toastmasters. I was practicing my speeches. I was visualizing speeches. I had a plan of attack. I sought out opportunities to speak in front of people. I knew it was going to be uncomfortable, but I sought those opportunities out. That's very key. And then the third step when you're overcoming weaknesses, you got to practice. You have to practice. So I went on to order different courses as far as how to give presentations. How should the flow be? I studied body language, how to have presence when you're on stage or you're in front of a crowd. One of the guys that's coaching me once again that coached me a few years ago, and I paid a very hefty fee to have him coach me for the year, would always challenge me on my word choices when we did our monthly call. He had me really be mindful of cutting words out like and, yeah, but, all these filler words. And it was very hard to do, but I'm still very conscious of those things. And when I speak, I had to learn to speak slower, to not race through what I'm trying to say. That's a sign of nervousness. I had a plan as far as this. So when I record these podcasts, I do them live. Some of you watch live, some of you listen on iTunes. But it's a great way when I teach younger gym owners now, when I'm asked to speak to them about public speaking and seminars, you get on live, whether that's Facebook or Instagram or YouTube Live, because it's a great way to hone your speaking skills. There's no hiding, there's no waiting for it to be perfect. When I give presentations at Newell Strength, or if I'm asked to give them at an outside organization, I put my presentation together and I practice it. I walk through it, I visualize it, I physically rehearse it. So I know what I'm doing. Once I learned from mind map, right, and a lot of overcoming your weaknesses is knowing the human brain and your mind and the power of your mind. But once I realized that the brain is very, very threatened by judgment, the fear with speaking in front of people was essentially imaginary. People were not going to judge me when I'm giving my speech to the point where they kick me out of the tribe and my chance for survival goes down. It's not really life and death. Most people fear public speaking. Once they realize that it's the brain kind of playing a trick on them, the fear should greatly diminish. It's not life or death when you're up there. Once you know that you can't just read off the screen, when you are actually a person and not a robot up there, and you enjoy the topic you're talking about. These are all things that I had to learn, and how to put them into a presentation so I could talk effectively in front of people. Again, I'm just using speaking in front of people as the example. It's whatever your weakness is that you need to overcome. You have to acknowledge it, you have to come up with a plan, and you got to practice. Those are the three things. So you can say APP. I saw somebody give a presentation last year. Actually, it was this calendar year, and it was awful because the dude just read right off his PowerPoint, word for word. It's terrible. No practice, didn't acknowledge the weakness. Maybe he's gotten better since. But that's what's going to separate you when you go through life, is acknowledging those weaknesses, going to work on them. My belief, what I've seen throughout life, is situations are going to continue to present themselves to you until you can handle them, until you deal with them. Then they kind of go away. Whether that's fear of conflict. I see this with a lot of business owners where they don't want to deal with certain employees, or they want to put off that difficult conversation that maybe they got to let somebody go. Something along those lines, but the problem continues to arise. A weakness of mine before I met Devin was I kept going after the same type of girl. It was a girl that did not suit me. And I kept repeating the pattern. Same type of girl, different face. To the point where these girls had me believing I should change who I was. Once I recognized the pattern, I was able to stop it. The situation was going to continue to present itself to me until I figured it out. It's like, how do you get to the next level of a video game? That's what life really is, right? How do you get to the next level of Super Mario Brothers or Donkey Kong or whatever it is that you're playing? You got to advance levels. It gets harder as you go up to the next level. Self-awareness is the key with this. You got to acknowledge the weakness, and you got to put aside your ego. Self-awareness is the key to growth. Or you could just stay the same. That's up to you. If you just want to stay the same and be the status quo and not really grow at all, then that's fine. But remember, this is the one life that you get that we know of. This is the one time in this physical body that you have. You shouldn't be holding back. You should be trying to max yourself out. You should be trying to improve your weaknesses that are going to help advance you in life so you can get the most out of this life. Now, I'll say that after acknowledging my weaknesses, I've become a pretty good speaker. Become pretty good, and I can always get better. I know that. So I'm always still trying to learn. Trying to learn. I watch people that give speeches, and I said, man, that really captured me. What did they do that captured me? How do they hold themselves? So acknowledge, plan, you practice. Life's about getting better, everybody. It's about unlocking that inner strength that you have. That's what I have for you for this episode 231. I'll be back next week with episode 232. Please hit the like or the subscribe button if you're listening on iTunes. And share it with somebody that maybe needs to overcome a particular weakness. But better yet, if you take the time to listen to this, put it to use yourself. Put it to use yourself. I would love to hear some success stories from this. If there's anything I can do to help you, do not hesitate to reach out. And thank you, Paul. Hopefully I'll see you soon, buddy. You all have a great day.